Hey y'all, it's Jamie of Color Flutter Creations, and I am so excited to be part of Pixi Dust Designs Video Hop for their new release, Pixi Promises, that is out today. I'm going to be using the Walk by Faith die set, which as you can see here, I've cut out all of my florals, my shoes, and all the little shoe embellishment pieces. So let's get to it. First thing I want to do is create my background. So I have two separate card panels. With the first card panel, I'm taking a generous amount of distress ink in a bright yellow, and I'm placing that all over my panel. I'm not worrying about making this a smooth blend because I am going to put this into my splat box and spray water. I want the bleaching and oxidation effect that this ink has. So I spray water, dab that up with a paper towel, and then I'm actually going to go in with some spritz spray in a coordinating color to give it a nice shine. For my second panel, I'm using a Distress Oxide in an orange, which is why I've got to shake it up really good. I spray a generous amount, and then I'm going in with water in my splat box and a nice amount of water. While I'm drying, I lift up my panel because I want that water to allow the ink or pigment to move. I go back in with another coordinating color of spritz spray to give this panel some extra shine as well. I run through my die cutting machine the yellow panel with a cover plate that is a sunburst, and it gives this fun sun element as you can see. And this is going to go over our orange panel. So I use liquid adhesive all over the sunburst, and then I'm going to lay that onto the orange panel. And this is going to give us the appearance of the rays going from yellow to orange, yellow to orange. So it's going to be a nice alternating effect of this. The panel is a little bit larger, so I have to cut that down just a little bit to match the cover plate size. Putting the background aside, I move on to doing some ink blending onto my shoe. So with a slightly darker tan of an ink, I'm going around just the edges of all of the base shoe elements. So I've got the shoe, the tongue, the little back piece or inside back piece of this, and what the laces are going to go on. I can then use some liquid adhesive to add in all of these different layers. So this is that inside kind of back dimensional piece of the shoe, and then I put on the tongue of the shoe. Now with the tongue of the shoe, how it lays on, you can see this little extra bit there, but there are lines that guide you. So one good thing about this die set is that when you're cutting out all of these shoe pieces, it debosses them all. So you know exactly where each of these elements needs to lay in order to make your shoe and put it together. I got a little extra glue onto the black strip because it's pretty thin. So I dabbed some of that off with an extra piece of cardstock that I had. I then put together the other elements, which is the shoe emblem that has a star in the middle of it, all of the little circles where the laces fit through, and then the little piece where the heel is. The laces are going to overlay onto where those holes are. And you can see that there are even some debossed lines on the laces. So I add some liquid adhesive to the back, I line it up at the very bottom, and then I can press the rest of it down. The other pieces go where I was showing you some of those debossed lines are, and this gives it that extra dimension and depth of the shoelaces, so it looks like they are crossing over one another just as with a real shoe. I absolutely love this aspect of the set. This is the extra thoughtfulness that I truly appreciate about these dies. And here is our completed shoe. So fun. We can then move back to our background. I had decided that I wanted to go ahead and put the center of that sun in the middle, and then I'm going to put glue all over the back of my shoe, leaving a small border around just the edges. And as you can see, I had an oopsie, as I always do, and I had to take off some of the glue from the bottom because it just got a little too close to that edge. I'm going to put that right into the center of kind of where our sun is, but leaving a little bit of space, I guess. And then I'm able to move on to creating our floral arrangement around the shoe. All of the florals that come with this die that I had already die cut, you can see them there in my tray. I'm going to use just their natural shapes and curvature to go all around the shoe. Now, one thing I did think about as I was partially through this process was, wait a minute, where am I going to put my sentiment and how do I want this to lay? So I kind of finish up my initial building of my floral arrangement, and then I'm going to move on to the sentiment. Using my Altenew Obsidian ink, I stamp out the sentiment onto some cardstock. I'm going to use clear embossing powder over this and then set it with my Wow heat tool. And this sentiment is absolutely fabulous. You can see more of the wonderful design elements with those brush strokes in the stamp. Absolutely love that. Once I know where I'm going to place my sentiment, I can finish filling out the florals. I cut a frame for my card panel using the same gold metallic cardstock that I did for the shoe elements. And I'm just going to add some liquid adhesive to the back of this, and then I'm going to lay it over my card panel. This was another reason why I kind of waited to fill out some of the florals, is I needed to know how thick my frame was going to be so that I didn't have florals that were going to be covered up or encroaching too much on the frame. I added some foam dots to the back of my sentiment, and I'm using a little bit of glue so I have some wiggle room. I then place my sentiment close to my shoe and around that kind of area where I layered my florals. And once I get that all centered, then we can finish off our card panel. I decided to pull out a bunch of different colored gems from my stash, and I'm placing those all over my shoe. And why I wanted to do this is because this is so nostalgic for me. I actually had a pair of cream colored Converse All-Star shoes when I was little, and I had a bedazzler and bedazzled them. My shiny, glittery, make everything sparkle and bling started way back then. I top everything off literally with a little bit of champagne gold pops of color just in the center of the big flowers. I truly had so much fun making this card today, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and like and subscribe. And check out the video description box below. It's going to tell you where to go so you know who to hop to next. Thanks again for joining me. This used the Walk by Faith die set out now by Pixi Dust Designs. Again, thank you. I appreciate you. And please be sure to stay tuned for more crafty fun in the future. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for supporting me by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this video.